My dear brothers and sisters, in 1826, the French lawyer and politician Anselme Brillant Savarin said, "Tell me what you eat, and I will tell you what you are." And later, a German philosopher, Ludwig Andreas Schubach wrote, "Man is what he eats." I'm sure there's a lot of truth in what both these people have said. Man is what he eats. In today's reading, the first and the gospel speaks about eating bread. In the first reading, we heard the plight of the people of Israel. They are grumbling. They want to eat. They want bread and meat. And they say, "We were happy in Egypt. We had plenty to eat, plenty of bread and plenty of meat. But now we are in the desert." You know the story of the Israelites when Yahweh freed them from Egypt, from Pharaoh's. They had to travel a long distance to come to their homeland. And as they travel, they come to a desert. There's nothing to eat. Look ahead, all sand. Look behind, all sand. Look on either side, there's just sand and sand. I'm sure those who have lived in Gulf countries or have been there know the heat there. So they grumble. And Yahweh does not abandon them. He cannot. Because they were his people. He cannot. Because we read the prophet Isaiah, he says, "Can a mother forget her suckling babe? And even if she does, I will never forget you." Yahweh doesn't forget them, Israelites, but gives them manna and meat in morning and in the evening. And he told them, "Eat what is required for your particular day. Do not take extra following day." And if you read the other part, you realize that they took extra, and in the morning it had mildewed. So in a way, Yahweh tests their faith, whether they really believe that Yahweh is the Redeemer, whether they believe that they have been liberated from the yoke which they had in Egypt. When you look at our own lives as we live our life on this earth, we too have grumbled, didn't we? When someone dear to us falls sick and sickness is incurable, we grumble. When a business collapses, we grumble. We say we had worked so much and yet it collapses. Or when we see our children as they grow up, going astray, we grumble. We give them all that and say, "We have done so much for you, and why? And why? And why?" Jesus didn't promise us a bed of roses with thorns. So maybe you could ask ourselves at this time, when trials, tribulations came my way, did I grumble? Or did I say it is part of my life? The gospel passage that we heard is part of a long discourse about the bread of life, which began last Sunday and will go on for next 2 Sundays. It speaks about Jesus is the bread of life. In the last Sunday, we heard about the miracle Jesus worked in the wilderness when the people were hungry. When the Jews who saw it, those who were there, who had plenty of food, plenty of bread, and more was left. What was their response? They want to make Jesus king. They said to them, "Here is a man who was promised by Yahweh from beginning, who will deliver us and give us plenty and plenty and plenty." But Jesus had realized this and had gone away from them. And we heard that they went seeking for him. Why did they go to seek for him? Is it because they wanted to listen to him, or is it because they wanted to witness miracles? They went perhaps to seek him because they were getting free bread. and plenty. When we have elections, either Lok Sabha or state election, those so-called, those who stand for election, they say we provide so much ration free. Come to a particular place with their bags and take. And what do? What do? We rush in line. We may have enough at home. We may be millionaires also. We rush. Why? We get free bread, right? We rush. And here the people, the Jewish people who rush to see Jesus, want to meet him. Were here fed some time back. Free bread and plenty. So they went there for free bread. And what is this response to that people? You have come here because you know very well I multiplied the 5 barley loaves and 2 fish, and you had plenty too. You have come here not for me, you have come for your physical sustenance and free of charge. And Jesus tells him, do not labor for this free bread, but labor for another type of free bread I will give to you, which will give you eternal life. Do they understand this? What is this free bread? Eternal life. We are human beings. We want bread every day. We want meat every day. Free every day. And we want free. And he's talking about something else, eternal life. What is eternal life? And how can he give us that free? Jesus is talking about himself, the Eucharist. But he himself, the bread of life. Did it go into the heads? If you see the passage later on, when Jesus tells them, unless you eat my flesh and drink my blood, you will die on this earth. But if you eat my flesh and drink my blood, you will have eternal life. Question we make ask ourselves, why are we living on this earth? Is the purpose ultimate is to have that eternal life? Or a living to acquire more and more and more? If you know the latest UN survey, it says about 80 million people are more and more die of hunger, malnutrition, and so on. Well, the affluent countries are acquiring more and more. And what do we do when we have plenty? This parable just told the Jews about a farmer who had plenty of yield. And what does he do? Does he share with the neighbors who had none? He breaks his old barns and build new ones. And that same man gets a message. Today, you will have to leave all this so-called your wealth and come and report to me. Today is a nice time to recall, to reflect on ourselves. How much is a hunger for spiritual wealth? How much is a hunger for Jesus, the bread of life? Is it that much as we long for a daily breakfast, daily lunch, daily supper? Or do we go beyond that? And if you go beyond that, how much do we prepare ourselves when we come here to celebrate the Eucharist? Do we come here because if we don't, we may go to confession and tell, Father, I did not go for Mass this Sunday because I was lazy. So do we go or we come because it is, the law says, you have to go for Mass on Sunday. So let not this be in our mind of the fear. We come here because we want to build up a relationship with Christ so that He and I journey together on this world and we both face our life difficulties and we're able to share what we have with others so that when we reach our last destination, Jesus will say, come into my kingdom because you lived a life on this earth with a lot of crosses, with a lot of roses, but you have braved them all. Come and enjoy my kingdom.